the Football Pod on Off the Ball in partnership with AIB, proud sponsors of the Football, Hurling and Camogie All-Ireland Club Championships. Hashtag the toughest.
Hello there. You're very welcome back to the Football Pod. It's a Monday. We hope you're all listening in. I've got James O'Donoghue and Paddy Andrews back with me. We've all had busy weekends in our own rights. I was covering Corofin and Salthill, and then I was at a Munster hurling clash between the Piercy and Ballygunner yesterday in the Gaelic grounds. James O'Donoghue scored a pair of goals in the O'Donoghue Cup for Legion on Saturday afternoon. Then he went for a clatter of pints, and then he went to watch Fussa at Middletown Castlemaine on Sunday. More of that in a minute. Paddy Andrews, how was your Saturday night, fella?
You teed me up here. We went for dinner for the first time since little Hugo was born, and how times have changed. We went out at 5:30 in the afternoon, and we're home. Come home in a taxi at 8:45. Asleep
in the morning.
AM.
No, usually that wouldn't be far off. 8:45 that evening, same evening, both of us panned out asleep in the back of the taxi. This is times have changed, lads. The party's over. Big time.
The world has changed for Paddy Andrews.
Sad times. Great and all, the little fella, but it's a shock to the system. But other than that, it was a great weekend. Thank you very much. I didn't do a 12-hour binge like Jimmy and then sit on the couch for the whole afternoon.
The only time you should be asleep
miss
in the
those
back of a
days.
taxi is if you're trying to disarm the taxi driver to do a runner.
Yeah, at 8:45 the next morning. There are symmetries there, but this was not the case on Saturday night. No. Parenthood.
There's no way, James.
It's not for everyone.
I've been in taxis with James O'Donoghue and Killarney. There's no way you're getting away with a runner. They'd be knocking on your door the next morning.
Never in Killarney.
That's how he keeps getting injured. That's why he's kneeling his groin, trying to get away from taxi men. Like.
No, I would actually never do that.
Joke.
But I'd always run home anyway. Run home from
yeah.
town. I'm telling you. Business.
Okay.
Freshens you up a bit. Makes you extra tired to go to bed.
You weren't running home from that roadshow last year in Killarney. Stumbling, taking lads out on the way. Like.
Tumbling a
Heard
drink.
you walk, never mind run. Jesus. Anyway, other than that, there was loads of ball on, yeah.
That's an exciting weekend. Let's start in the Kingdom because I think it's the 46th Monday roughly of the year. David Clifford and Paddy Clifford between Fussa and Kerry and Sigerson have played, David anyway, have played nearly every single Sunday weekend. A lot of football. And I was thinking earlier on, this is it now. He's finished for the year, not realising that the poor Fussa lads, after losing the Kerry Intermediate final, have to face the might of Killarney Legion in the O'Donoghue Cup in 2 weeks' time. Too much football.
There's no such thing as too much football.
There is.
Surely the lads will get a break.
There is.
I'm sure they will. It depends what they want to do. If they'd won the weekend, I would have said there'd have been no hope that they'd have played O'Donoghue Cup. I don't know. Would they want to tug out again this year? Who knows?
I think you're bigging up this cup to be more than what it really is.
It's the World Cup of GAA.
In East Kerry.
East Kerry is Kerry at the moment.
Okay.
Oh.
You took away a couple of nice
No,
goals
it's not. I'm only
the
joking.
weekend?
But no, East Kerry competition is important. Sure, Dingle just had a win. Actually, they won the West Kerry.
Yeah, big deal. Dingle obviously in action against Clonmel Commercials in the Munster semi-final this weekend. Let's go through that game on Sunday then, because the world and the media in Ireland were all clued into that one because they thought that the Fussa fairy tale was going to continue and they were going to continue this meteorical rise to the senior ranks in Kerry. Middletown Castlemaine, who very strong anyways coming into it, had other ideas, and it turned into an epic, James.
It did. It was a brilliant game. Last year I went to Lestroy against Fussa in the junior final, and it was the best game I've been at that year. And I reckon this is the best game I was at this year. Fussa again. Fussa Middletown. Just Fussa can score every attack, get a shot off every attack. They kicked 18 points and lost.
Fussa or David Clifford?
Yeah, to be fair, mostly David.
What did he? 12, did he?
He got 12 and he got 8 or 9 great points. They weren't easy scores.
What we saying last week, like these conditions are obviously trickier. I know there was a big win in that game as well, but we're not seeing many, and the same in the senior club championship games over the weekend. We're not seeing many big scores. But then you look at that Fussa Castle or Middletown game, 213 to 18 is sub score at this time of year. And for Clifford to score 12 points himself, I mean, that's winning some of the senior championship games around the country we've seen. It is.
But it proves that
testament to the quality of the football on show there, to be fair to them.
Yeah, but like it proves how important a goal is because
Yeah.
Fossett kept getting ahead in the second half by a point or two. You think they'll pull away now, or they might get a goal chance themselves. And next thing, Milton came down and went straight through the middle of them with a bit of pace. Killian Burke, he's on the Kerry panel next year. He's going to be one to watch. He is an athlete. He must be 6'3", powerhouse, can carry the ball, eye for a score. You know,
midfielder, Jimmy, or where? Where is he best?
He's for his club now, and what he did for Mid Kerry, who got to the senior county final. He was playing 14, coming out and in and out, depending on the situation.
But he's Kerry, a forward, because we know Kerry are looking for probably guys around the middle. At that level, he's probably an inside forward, is he? He's not a midfielder.
When I'm talking about him, I'm eyeing him up as an inside forward, but I don't think that's going to be his short term future. And like usually the path for a fella who can run that well and is good in the air is probably 10, isn't it? It's 10 with a view to 8, and maybe
you can do a bit of everything. Like
but fuck, when a fella has an eye for a goal and he loves taking fellas on, he loves dropping the shoulder. I say keep him in by the goals. You know, let David Clifford and
if you're talking
Jimmy, to him.
If you're thinking about Kerry, their team, like where's the opportunities for that young player? And it's not 8, really inside. 12, it is around. That's where Kerry are probably a bit light. That could be a fast track for someone in there beside Jack Barry or Dermot O'Connor as well. Like, and I'm sure Jack Barry's probably looking at that. He's gone altogether.
Jack Barry is gone travelling. So
where were you for the last 2 months?
What did you do? Have a baby?
I wasn't following Jack Barry's fucking career anyway. I hardly follow that in the normal season. Never mind the off season. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, Jack Barry's gone so there's going to be space in midfield.
You'd nearly get a game yourself in midfield, would you?
I'm not great in the air.
You could be the runner though. Your athleticism.
It's like flick it on.
Yeah.
It came down again, James, to I suppose not the very last kick of the game, but Clifford kicked 12 points, and he has a very tough free. For people who haven't seen it, a 13-yard free along the sideline.
Yeah.
64th minute to level it up. You know, I heard you chatting at the All-Stars, which we're going to come to on Friday night, and you were talking about how much you loved the frees at the end of the round robin games this year. All the games went down to the wire. So was it like that sort of drama again? Was it a tough free or what?
It was a very tough free. Yeah, it was windy. It wasn't. The wind wasn't hammering over one goalpost. You know, it wasn't going over a black spot somewhere where you just had to throw it up in the air. It was kind of swirling. He got the free over in the 13 spot, right in the corner, 14-yard, maybe 20-yard line, and he just left it out there a little bit. But they had another chance after that, and they didn't manufacture a shot, which Milton did very well to defend. But it always, do you know what? It came down to the end. That free to an extent, but a couple of kickouts that Milton said, do you know what? I'm not going to go short here and put the pressure on us. I'm going to send it out there and boys, fight for it. And if you can win one or two of them and get you up the other side of the field, you're made. And that's what happened to them. They had some great catches.
Jack O'Connor's son, Éanna O'Connor, he's had a really interesting kind of career trajectory. I'd be right in saying he played originally with Drummond Pierce's, which would be Jack's home club. So does that mean that he played for South Kerry?
He did.
And then he went up to Moorfield in Kildare, and he won a Leinster and a couple of Kildare titles at Moorfield. Now he's back and he's living, and I think his fiancée is from Milltown Castlemaine, so he's living there now. He's playing Milltown Castlemaine and Mid Kerry now. So that's some clatter of clubs.
Robbie Keane there going around. Signing for everyone. Jesus Christ.
His age is lifting.
A quality footballer as well, James, in his own right.
He's very, very, very respected footballer down here. A serious kicker. Like off the ground, off the hands, any angle, any distance, you'd back him. And in this time of year as well, when a couple of frees, you know, a lot of teams are missing him with the wind and the footing. He's just slapping them over. It's some advantage. He's been a super player. He got man of the match the weekend, which was 50-50 because realistically Clifford got 12 points. But to the victors go to spoils all the time. Like you have to give the winners the man of the match. I hate seeing losing teams get man of the match.
Well, that's a beautiful bridge to Friday night. To the victors go to spoils. How did they feel in the capital, Paddy, when the Footballer of the Year went to Kerry and Dublin only got 5 All-Stars this year?
I know that this was obviously a big debate in the immediate aftermath of the All-Ireland final. There was a lot of coverage of it, obviously. I thought once it was the shortlist was announced, and I said it on the pod on the Monday after the All-Ireland final, I felt Cluxton had a real shout at winning Player of the Year But when the shortlist was out, it was Fenton was the only dub on it. Brendan Rodgers and Clifford. I felt Clifford was pretty much nailed on to get it then. I know there was kind of calls for James McCarthy. That was probably more of a sentimental side of things from the Dublin perspective. I thought once you've seen the shortlist, Clifford was pretty much nailed on to get it. He's only the second ever player to win back-to-back footballers a year. Do you know who the other one is?
Jack O'Shea.
Yeah, I was surprised at that now. But no, look, you can't really have many complaints. Look, he is outstanding. We said this at the time. And from a Dublin perspective, if I was going to give it to any of the dubs, Fenton was obviously immense, but I would have been leaning towards Cluxton, but he wasn't nominated for it. On the final All-Star split, we weren't far off, were we? If we look back at the football pod, was it the exact team?
No, we were after
Paddy, we had 14 out of 15,
Yeah.
but if I'm not mistaken, you actually gave Enda Smith one, but you had Paul Mannion in your team as well.
I did, and that's the only... I had Enda Smith in, and it's an odd one for the All-Stars, right? Enda Smith got man of the match in 3 games and was Ross Common's outstanding player, but they don't make the quarterfinals, and he actually gets sent off in that defeat to Cork in the qualifiers. So you can kind of say, should that go against them? And we've said the All-Stars gets a lot of negative press because it's very much tilted towards the semi-final and finals. And some of the so-called weaker counties or teams that exit early in the championship don't get a look at. And that's probably fair. So you can't really give out that when they do it for Enda Smith that he gets one. But I think for Paul Mannion to get man of the match in the All-Ireland final and be head and shoulders Dublin's best player that day and not get one, you could kind of say... Because realistically, it's probably between Sean O'Shea, Mannion, and Enda Smith for 2 of those 3 slots. And they've gone with Sean O'Shea, who didn't really have a great final, but then he had a brilliant second half of that Derry win in the semi-final. So, look, the All-Stars are very subjective. There's always calls like this. I think it's a fair enough team. You know, I was happy for Thomas Sullivan to get one this year because he was probably nailed right in the mix in last year's team, but didn't have a good final on Shane Walsh and didn't get one. He gets one at cornerback this year, but I think Dublin would probably be looking at Mannion not getting one and feeling a little bit hard done by.
Yeah, Mannion was definitely the main one that you'd said he was unlucky, but you couldn't argue against any of the fellas who got him. And it was fair to Enda Smith, like some of the scores he got, were unbelievable scores. I know you kind of say, look, it wasn't a semi-final or final or whatever, but some players just don't have access to those games. You know, they don't have a route at times. Now, Roscommon, we thought they probably did this year, but I'd like to see...
Isn't that rare enough for the All-Stars, Jimmy, that normally they don't give All-Stars?
Yeah, I'd like to see
it is a criticism of them, so I think it's great for Enda Smith. He's an absolute quality player. And it's a good team, but what about the football pod being pretty much nailed on? They're listening to us. Somebody's listening to us out there. McKinless at centre back. That was kind of
McKinless. He was one of my favourite players earlier. I think he is an absolute warrior.
Do you know what I found?
If he didn't get one, it would have been a farce.
I was doing a bit of training last week and bumped into the great John Small. John Small wasn't even nominated for an All-Star.
I'm the same as you, Paddy. I couldn't believe it.
Whatever about not
wasn't
getting
nominated.
Wasn't nominated. That is ridiculous.
And we had a big debate about
should he be in?
or Small.
Yeah. So
but if you do an interview with the media at some stage in the year, you're guaranteed a nomination. Then if you play well,
do you think?
Is that
That's
how,
what we should do now. We
should
should throw out a few. We should get a few
rub
players
their
out
bellies.
there.
Rub their bellies.
Exactly.
Well, it is an interesting one, right? I think the one with Enda Smith, right? I can't. I'm looking there online. I saw a photo at the weekend of the All Stars that have been given to players who didn't make the quarterfinals, and there's some great ones there. John Keenan, Westmeath, Charlie Harrison from Sligo in 2010. I can't find or remember the other ones, but I will.
It's rare, isn't it? It is rare.
It is rare. But for someone like Enda Smith, like how much that'll mean to his family, himself, his teammates even. But like Roscommon as a county, 2001, Francie Graham was the last time that they got an All-Star. So it's a huge thing.
Really?
There was a really good piece written today, actually, by Michael Verney in the Indo. And it was about some of the great players that have never won All-Stars. And he was talking to Taggy in it. So, you have the likes of Michael Meehan in Galway, Aaron Kernan in Armagh, Jason Sherlock in Dublin, Kevin McLaughlin in Mayo, Liam Harnan in Meath, Gary Brennan in Clare, Darrow Canada in Kerry, never made a football 15.
Really?
And then in hurling, the likes of Jerry McInerney from Galway, Jim Troy from Offaly, Tom Kenny from Cork, Taggy Fogarty from Kilkenny, Stephen McDonough from Limerick, Paddy Stapleton from Tip. They all slipped through the small ball net. But he told a story about one unnamed nominee who didn't win an award one night. And after a few beers, he showed the judging panel a text from his intercounty manager. And I was just wondering, Paddy, was this person you? Because the text was, "Don't let the bastards get to you."
I don't think that was me. No, I wasn't talking.
I'm pretty sure it wasn't.
I wasn't
me.
talking to the judging panel any night I was at the All Stars. Definitely not.
Hang on,
No.
the judging panel actually, they're protected
Who is it?
species. Who the fuck are
Is
they?
it, yeah, is it not? No,
Oh, no,
you don't know who it
it's
is.
out in the open.
Oh, is
it's
it?
out in the open now. Yeah, I'll dig it out for you. I know that.
I want names.
John-
I think we should get that job next year.
I want names. They're basically just listening to us anyway, Jimmy.
Names and addresses, please.
Yeah.
I will get the names to you now in 2 seconds.
I want the
if
names
you
and
bear with me.
addresses for the last 10 years.
It's definitely an Irish
So,
Times journalist.
PwC.
Don't
the
tell me there's
PwC
someone from
2023.
PwC just for the mix, like one of the partners, like, fuck's sake.
Kerry Group is someone.
Sorry, I have a bit of a cough today, lads. The PwC Hurling All-Star 23 selectors are, or were, Colin Keys of the Irish Independent, Sean Moran of the Irish Times, Marty Morrissey of RTE, John Fogarty of the Irish Examiner, Pat Nolan of the Irish Mirror, Damien Lawler of RTE, McDara McDonough of TG Carr, Philip Lanigan of the Daily Mail, John Harrington of GA.ie, Joanne Cantwell of RTE, Grania McElwain of GA Go.
Grania gets our vote.
42. So there you go.
Jeez, it's well covered, obviously, pretty much every media.
I am impressed with that list, to be fair.
Very hard to
think
get consensus there, though, isn't it? When you have that many people in. And no,
I think there could be missing.
No ex-players.
Yeah, no. Well, it's selected by journalists, and then the footballer of the year is selected by.
Yeah, no, I know that. But would you want
players,
a player's view on the All Stars? Like, that's a lot of people to get consensus. But look, I suppose it's covering all the bases of the media.
Consensus is impossible, or realistically.
Yeah,
very difficult. Yeah. What I'll do for you, Paddy, is look back and dig out who the selectors were in 2013, 2015, and 2017.
I want names.
In 2 of those years.
I wouldn't say I was robbed in every year. Maybe 1 or 2. Possibly.
Yeah.
I should have done more interviews, man.
If there was a football pod, could have got you on.
James, should have done this 10 years ago.
James, Dave Clifford obviously crowned Footballer of the Year back-to-back. Paddy mentioned it. It's a phenomenal achievement. Brian Fenton, the only other current player to have won 2 Footballer of the Year awards. You know, we know football didn't start back in 1996, but under the current guys, Trevor Giles won 2 Footballer of the Year awards. And then thinking back before that, Peter Canavan's won 2. Jack O'Shea's won 4. Jimmy Keegan's
what was Giles, Tommy? 96 and 99?
Yeah.
Some player.
Yeah.
And Peter Canavan won it twice.
Yeah, in I think there were twice in the early. Was it
95 and 2003? Surely did he win it in 2003 when they won it? Yeah,
exactly. One of my favourite ones were, I think, the distance between Henry winning it twice as Hurler of the Year is remarkable. It's like early on and very late on. It's just class, and it's the same with Cluxton winning those All Stars, 7 All Stars. The first one in 2002, the latest in 2023. It's unbelievable. James, I had a question for you.
Footballer of the Year twice is some goal, isn't it? Like that is.
Well, you're a standard setter.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
I wouldn't back against him for 3 in a row because he definitely didn't get to his highest high this year either. Like he has another gear.
Yeah,
his club form was sensational. Like afterwards, so he definitely has the hunger to get back there again.
But he scored 11 points in a club final in January, and he scored 12 points in a club final in the depths of November. So like that entire year, you know. Anyways, that's one thing.
If you
James,
take
the night that you won Footballer of the Year,
just before we move off Clifford, from Kerry's point of view, him losing that game, I won't feel like that now. Yesterday, and not having to go into a Munster campaign, I think that's a good thing for David Clifford. He's not going to feel that now, and for Paddy as well, to get, because you've said it, Tommy. That is a phenomenal year, and it is incredible the consistency and the levels he reached, and Paddy as well. To be fair to him, but for Jack O'Connor and for Kerry. Obviously smarting from how the season finished for them, for Cliff to get a couple of weeks off even, and not be kind of dragged on into another club campaign through. I think that's in the long term would be beneficial to him and to Kerry. And you're right in terms of what is he, 24? Like realistically, if you're Kerry going to win this thing next year or the next couple of years, he's the main man for the foreseeable future. He could win. 3, he could win. He could win 5 footballers here. He's that good.
No,
he's that integral to his teams, and Kerry are going to be right thereabouts. But I think that
they do. They need to protect
we'll get a nice couple of weeks to just get his stuff together. It's been a long year on and off the pitch for him with Paddy. So, look, I think he's deserving of it this year for Footballer of the Year, and I think the same as everyone. Looking forward to seeing him back in 2024.
But he'll get. When's the National League? First week of February. So
Last week of
we
Last
get
week.
10 weeks. Last week of January.
Last week of January, yeah.
9 weeks off.
We think we have a Kerry Dublin cracker set up in Tralee, so there's a bit of argument going on before the pod. We're planning a trip down to Tralee, so
Are we
James,
making
you'll have us-
Are we making this fixture or the GA deciding this?
The
I'd
GA
go
have
for
decided Kerry Derry.
Kerry Derry.
No,
There's
it's
no
Kerry Dublin.
showbiz. Like Kerry Dublin in
No.
Tralee should be the opening.
I'm rarely wrong.
Yeah,
That
we're going to do a
is-
pod from there.
That is not true.
No, it's a very good point about, you know, on a kind of totally selfish level. I'm sure Jack O'Connor was like, okay, give the boys a bit of a break. Hopefully they get a break and they're not playing O'Donoghue Cup next week against the Legion, as I said already.
Jimmy be
But when
cracking
you
the
look,
whip.
when you look at Glen,
should
Conor
rest
Glass has had a couple of relentless years. Robbie Brennan spoke about it afterwards, the Kilmacud Crokes manager, when they bet RD St. Mary's, that Paul Mannion and Shane Walsh both missing out on the small thing, but missing out on the team holidays because of their club campaigns and the success they're having at club level with Kilmacud Crokes. Like the relentless nature of, I suppose, the club season rolling into the county season, rolling into the club season, rolling into the county season for the best of the best. I'm not sure we're going to see really the impact of that for a couple of years, but yeah, it's
Shane
been
Walsh is
absolutely
going to be
relentless.
under pressure because he didn't find his best form after the club
No.
season last year. And I know, I've heard him speak since, he's really up for getting his form back in this inter-county season. But he's going to be coming into the inter-county season off the back of another club run.
Yeah,
So, I mean,
they're facing Nace in the Leinster final. So
I
yeah,
think with Shane
Yeah,
Walsh as well,
that's-
lads.
that was
He hasn't been at his best for Crokes either. I think he's found this season quite difficult. He was integral for Crokes, winning the All Ireland in January. He was obviously amazing for Galway the previous year. But I think all of 2023, he struggled for his best form. We know his ceiling is so high. He definitely didn't reach that with Galway throughout the inter-county season. And though Crokes are winning, and they'll probably be favourites for that Leinster final on Sunday week against Nace, he hasn't really been at his best either in the club scene. So you're looking for Pádraig Joyce or for Galway, if they're going to get back to those heights again in 2024, he is so important. But you're right, Jimmy. Like if you look at Crokes, they'll be fancy their chances of being in the All Ireland club final towards the end of January, and then a week or 2 weeks, and then they're straight back in again. So I suppose it's the price of success, but it's that would be an interesting one to watch.
yeah, for sure,
100%.
100%. James, the night that you won Football of the Year in 14, did you know that? Did you find out that night in the arena, or did you know beforehand?
I knew beforehand. So I went up the day of then for like pictures or whatever.
So
If they're allowed to media that day, don't you, Jimmy? Early in the day.
Yeah, there was a bit of hacking in it, alright. And
Did you get a
I
few
didn't.
quid?
So what-
Huh?
Did you get a few quid at the time?
25?
Oh.
Did you?
No. No, there's fuck on. I
Tommy's
can't actually
eyes
remember
lit
what
up
it was. I
you got a car, didn't you?
No, the car was gone for me. I think
It
the
used
car
to be a
went
car
in like
though, didn't it?
2012 or something. Because there was the 2 awards. But the car was gone. I'd say it
Celtic
might have
Tiger.
been.
Did
you get
I'm
it?
Just got a
guessing
Ferrari during the Celtic Tiger, like.
it could have been maybe 7,500 or something. I honestly can't remember. It was blown anyway, whatever it was, instantly.
You'll have to cut that because if revenue get wind of this, Jimmy's fucked.
Well, revenue are already
What-
chasing
what
me
did
after
you do
last.
with
Sorry,
that
I was,
7.5
I was
grand?
unemployed at the time.
Delete
No, I
this,
say I was in
Tommy.
college. Yeah, I was in college. I had no money.
The feds are going to be queued up outside Jimmy's gaff at the weekend.
There you go. It's a bit of inside baseball here. We're getting into the heart of the
Actually,
money.
because
Yeah.
Shane
2014.
Enright, our cornerback,
Yeah.
Gilroy, awesome operator. But when he was playing cornerback, he got an All-Star, and it was a surprise on the night.
Oh,
But
yeah.
the €1,500 for an All-Star award at the time was in his account that morning, so he knew he was after getting it.
That's the efficiency of the banking system. There you go.
2 quid.
Brilliant. So, congrats to all the All-Star winners. The team was Stephen Cluxon, if you don't know it already. Stephen Cluxon, Conor McCluskey, Mick Fitzsimons, Tom O'Sullivan, James McCarthy, Garrett McKinless, Conor McCarthy of Monaghan, Brian Fenton and Brendan Rodgers in midfield, Paulie Clifford, Sean O'Shea, Enda Smith in the half-forward line, David Clifford, Shane McGuigan and Collie Baskell. What a season he had in the full forward line. David Clifford, Footballer of the Year. Ethan Doherty, Young Footballer of the Year. And Kerry had a clean sweep at the LGA Awards on Saturday night. Louise Nimura-Hurty was announced as Footballer of the Year as well down in Kerry. So cleaning up in that
It's
regard.
interesting as
the
well,
Dubs,
isn't it? Like,
although the Dubs won the All-Ireland and they had 8 on the
what a
on that team.
convincingly. Won it convincingly that day, that final.
Well, I suppose that can be more of a kind
Um,
of a strong team effort rather than one, individual player. Like,
yeah, for sure,
I think
for sure. We mentioned the drama in Kerry, and we've gone through the All Stars. The results from the weekend in terms of the Senior Football Championship: St Bridget's over Scommon are facing
Yeah.
Corofin in the Connacht final. So the two heavyweights between them, they've shared 11 Connacht titles since 2006 in the last 17 years. Both of them, I would say, are at early enough stages in their kind of transition back to being heavyweights again. Corofin were awesome lads in Salthill against Ballina. 14 of their 16 points were from play.
Oh.
5 of them came from young Jack McCabe, who had a quiet county final. He's only 19. Scored 5 from play this day. And Gary Size kicked 5 as
You
well.
have to fancy Corofin for that Connacht final. I know Bridges weren't at their best, but they struggled to get over Mohill on Sunday. And you just get the sense Corofin, just their style of play, they're edging back towards that brilliant team where they kind of dominated for 3 or 4 years. You'd fancy them to come through that and get into an All-Ireland semi-final, based on what we've seen so far.
Did they get two?
Yeah,
Did they get 2 All-Irelands out of it, Corofin?
3 in a row.
3 in a row.
3 in a row.
Yeah.
Jesus.
And serious ball they were playing as well at the time. Like,
3 in a row is reckless.
a club is strong.
Bridget's had picked up 2 big injuries in the last couple of weeks. Brian Stack, who actually come on very late on against Mohill. I don't think they're expecting him back. Very good for his comment this year. And Rory Fallon went off towards the end of the county final. Ben O'Carroll, who impressed us all this year, is their kind of star up top. I do think it'll be Corofin's biggest test of the last couple of weeks. They've had tough tests between Mike Cullen and Ballina at the weekend. It's winter football. I do think it's going to be a good game between the two of them. So that is one we're keeping an eye on. And like, just the savage work rate, lads, from the Corofin forwards was just off the charts. Gary Sice again setting the tone. What a warrior. 39 a couple of weeks ago. 5 points, 2 frees, 3 from play. The 3 from play, lads. Did you see the solo dummy off the left, outside of the left boot, shot from about 45 yards? No.
No.
Oh, it was a beaut. I had to send it on to you. It was so good.
Little touch of stardust. Lovely.
In Leinster, these 2 games were tight. St. Lomans of Westmeath lost to Naas after extra time, 110 to 115. It was 1-9 to 12 at full time, and Naas got a goal right at the start of extra time, and they kind of blew Lomans away in extra time. And in RD, Chemical Crokes were 10 points up at half time with 14 minutes to play. That lead was down to 2, but they pulled away and they won by 5. So Paul Mannion, obviously the disappointment of not picking up an All-Star on Friday night, kicked 5 points from play in RD. 2 off the right, 3 off the left, put in a cracking performance. And they're the games last weekend. And this weekend, we have got the Ulster semi-finals. We've got Trillick against Scottstown. That's going to be live on TV. And Glen against Naomh Connell. And in Munster, we have Rathgormack up against the Cork champions, Castlehaven. And Dingle up against the Tip champions, Clonmel Commercial. So they should be 2 quality games of football as well.
Give us a few predictions there, lads. Go on. I think it's
fancy
Scottstown.
Dingle.
I think Dingle will win as well. Up north, Scottstown, Glen, Ulster final, I think will be a
I
great
fancy
game.
Clonmel in that Dingle Clonmel game.
You were saying that last week, yeah.
Mm.
And what about your conquerors? You just can't bring yourself to back Castlehaven, can you?
I think Castlehaven are winning that are going to beat Rathgormack. Although like the Waterford champions have typically been very difficult to beat in Munster over the last couple of years, and they've picked up some big scalps. I just think that Castlehaven outfit probably have just the way they set up. They're very clued in. They kind of get a bit too much credit for being an attacking force. They are defensive, as I said before, and I think Rathgormack will find it tough to break them down.
Castlehaven, Dingle, Munster final, and Glen, Scottstown, Ulster final.
What round is Dingle Clonmel?
Semi-final. There are 12 teams left in the senior Club All-Ireland.
Tommy, you've seen more of these games than we have. Right now, go on the 20th of November. Who do you think is going to win the All-Ireland? We won't quote you on this, but we will.
I know what he's going to say.
Who do I think is going to win the All-Ireland?
Perfect.
No, I don't know. Like, I've seen Corofin twice now, and I'm impressed. I just don't know if it's the Corofin we were seeing a couple of years ago. I am very impressed.
Corofin really go
We're all
after
impressed, but go on.
I
Who's going to win
think,
it?
I think if Chemical Crokes get over the line against Naas
They
and
will.
Glen get over the line against Naomh Connell and then Trillick or Scottstown, I think they're going to actually meet in the All-Ireland semi-finals. I think that's the way it's lined up.
Yeah.
I think it's Leinster Ulster in the semi-finals this year.
Come on. Who's going to win?
You've talked us through the championship, but who's going to win it?
Glen.
Glen. You're going for Glen.
Although I would love to see
I think
Scottstown.
Scottstown will win Ulster.
Yeah, I'd love to see Scottstown win Ulster.
Jimmy, but I think Crokes are going to win the All Ireland again.
I think Corfin will win it.
Corfin.
Class.
So Corfin, Jimmy, who are you saying? Tommy Glenn, and I'll say Crokes.
Glenn.
I think the Crust are like they probably have the strongest panel, like, but they've been around now. Is this going to be there? They got to the final, lost. Got to the final and won. Still on the road now. It's a lot of effort.
I think they'll beat Nace. They get a little break over Christmas, and I just think a semi-final in January. I think Shane Watts will have a big game in him. I think Manuel is kind of consistently delivers for them. I struggle to see someone beat Crokes.
Like
It's obviously very hard to go back to back, like, but I don't think some of the Munsters got to win it.
Kearns O'Reilly's nearly beat Kilmacud in the semi-final last year, and they got relegated intermediate.
I would say one thing about Chemical Crokes. I think they find it difficult to play beyond the level they're facing.
They always do enough. They're just horrible bastards.
They're like a 1-0
at some stage.
Yeah, they'll get to it. Same at the weekend against RD. There's no way they're going to lose that game. They're such.
At some stage, you're getting caught though.
Possibly. And like I say, it is back to back. It's very, very difficult. But I think, like, Scottstown have some brilliant players. Glen obviously have some brilliant players, as do Cara Finn. But does anyone have two lads like Shane?
Who beat Glen last year?
Crokes.
Kilmacud Crokes. And Kilmacud Crokes is such fine margins. Kilmacud Crokes needed an extra player on the field.
Oh.
I'm only joking.
No, but you can't back out of a comment like that. I'm only joking.
I have to.
In all reality, Jesus. Yeah, in all reality, I mean, you're getting down. You're getting right down to the top teams now. I agree. I think Corofin have a massive chance. I think they'll win Connacht. I think Glen is interesting. I think Scottstown. I just think that win against Kilcoo last week was massive for them. I think they'll come through comfortably against Trillick at the weekend and set up an Ulster final. And I think Crokes will have too much for Nace. I don't see a winner from Munster of the whole thing. I'd be amazed if I think Dingle will probably win Munster, or even if it's Castlehaven, I can't see either of them beating any of the other three.
I'd like to see Dingle have a run at it because they've always been an excellent team here, but never got the chance. Do you know?
Yeah.
You have to be. The stars have to align as well for you to get your chance at the right time and all that. But they have a strong team. They've all the Gainies.
Yeah.
They can rattle
They're
Munster.
good players. Jesus, they're good players. Like.
Tom Sullivan. There's a big day in them as well.
Sleeping on Clonmel, boys. You're sleeping on Clonmel.
We'll see. Next Monday.
Yeah, so it's obviously there's a lot of kind of comings and goings in the county scene at the minute. Roscommon were dealt a bit of a blow this week on one hand. They're losing Mark McHugh from their management team.
Where's he going?
The travel has become too much, as far as I can tell from the report. So he's stepping away. I wonder, will he be drafted into Donegal? That could be interesting.
There's a lot less travel there now, working with Jim McGuinness, I'd say.
But after a year where Roscommon, they obviously all had a great year. Jerry McGowan has also stepped away from Davy Burke's backroom team, but they've replaced him with Lara Wall, who, former Laois player, managed the Downs in Westmeath. Gail Colin Mead has built up a really big reputation. So he's in there. They haven't replaced Mark McHugh yet. Conor Daly is going to Australia, but his brother Ronan Daly is coming home from Australia. So there's one Daly out, one Daly in. And Keane McKeown, one of their most talented forwards, is heading to Australia as well. But Ultan Harney, one of their strongest, I would say middle third players over the last couple of years, is apparently coming home. So that's 2 out, 2 in for Roscommon. I was chatting to Brian Fenton last week. Had a nice chat, Paddy, at the launch of the new jersey with the new Dublin sponsors.
Say that, yeah.
Got about 15 minutes with him. He was talking about, everyone's asking him who's staying, who's going, and sure, there's no real commitment yet by anybody. But I kind of said to him, you had that at James McCarthy's wedding the year before, and it seemed to be the night that sparked everything coming together. Sometimes you just need to have everyone in a room and see what happens. And the Dubs have obviously gone on their holiday this week. They're gone to Miami, am I right, for 3 days, and then down to the Dominican Republic.
Yeah, nice trip.
Am I right with that? Something like that? Yeah. Something like the Caribbean? Yeah, something like that. So they'll obviously be together now for a little while. And he said he's been trying to keep the fire lit over the last couple of weeks. And he says that's how it works. He might drop Kilkenny a WhatsApp and a photo of the two of them together and just make sure, there's no thoughts going on up there that he might be stepping away. Same with McCarthy. He said he tried it with Fenton and he wasn't even getting blue ticked with, he tried it with Cluxton. He wasn't even getting blue ticked with Cluxton. Great text. Did you get any texts off Fenton while you stepped away or when you were waiting to step away?
Everyone, the man in the street knew I was finished.
Just a waving emoji. He got
a thumbs up. Thumbs up. No, look, I think it's important to enjoy our downtime now as well. That enjoy the holiday, bit of crack. There's loads of, we coming into December, there's loads of different things on. There's obviously the All-Stars a big night. There's medal presentations and all that stuff as well. So I think the big thing was Desi probably staying on. There was uncertainty, was he going to stay on or not? We're going to wait and see at the end of the club championship what guys we're going to do. But Desi staying on, I think, is a big thing. I think it's great for Dublin as well. It does, and we are getting into that period now around kind of December time as teams will be going back now with the National League starting in January. Obviously, the cup competition starting in early January. Teams will be going back, and if you're kind of on the fence of going back or not, I think you'll start seeing statements in the next week or two from all around the country with older players kind of taking a step away around them. But it's, from a Dublin perspective, it's great. We haven't seen anyone step away from it yet. Whether that's going to be the case come January, we don't know. But I think it's important as well to enjoy. It was a big win for Dublin, obviously. It was massive.
Yes.
And they're still enjoying that bit as well, which is well earned.
Yeah, well, there was obviously so much emotion in the aftermath of that win that you kind of need to take a while for it to settle down and then figure out. But I'd say every team around the country are probably at the same crack with just trying to make sure that they're keeping the same group together as much as possible, and fellas don't step away if there's a way they can kind of convince them to stay on. So it's an interesting time across the board. James, any murmurings down in Kerry of anyone stepping away apart from Jack Barry?
Where Jack Barry's gone?
No, but there was a shake up at the panel, all right. Yes, Paddy, Jack Barry's going travelling.
He is. He's heading off a couple of weeks. Australia, I think.
The thing with Jack is that his thinking has to be short term. It has to be like 9 months. Do you know what I mean? Like, you could bring in a load of 22, 21-year-olds, but how important are they going to be for you in the next 9 months? Like, the manager has to have a certain approach. Is he thinking of the long-term future, or is he thinking, I need to get us to another final in July? Do you know?
So you're saying Jack O'Connor more Mick McCarthy than Stephen Kenny?
Yeah,
No,
I think
Stephen
so.
Kenny, jeez.
I think in terms of who you're going to be, who you're going to be relying on.
But Kerry aren't in transition.
No.
Kerry were a couple of points shy last year. They obviously need to improve in certain areas.
I do think they need 1 or 2 players, though.
They definitely need players, though, around the middle. 8, 10,
and
8 and
possibly
10.
inside, Jimmy. The big thing, you're looking, who can take the burden off the Clifford's obviously credible. We said this through last season that I don't think Kerry ever reached the heights in 2023 that they did the previous year, when they could have swept everyone aside. They were really hard to play against defensively. They were dominant around the middle. They worked really hard, and then a really slick forward unit. I don't think they hit the heights in any area of the field in 2023. They were still really good, obviously, but I think someone who can step in with Clifford and take a little bit of pressure off him. Geely's obviously a year older, brilliant player and all that, but yeah, I agree around midfield, but I think Jack could be looking for someone as well inside who can be a killer to support the 2 Cliffords and Sean O'Shea.
He's brought Darragh Roach back in. Do you remember Darragh that broke his hand? He
went
got
to the States.
He got flared the championship in the Kerry County Championship, and he's brought in Killian Burke. I don't think he's brought in any other forwards like to add to what they have.
But is O'Cumber back from injury to kind of step up in that place that Jack Barry's leaving behind? So he's obviously was a massive loss last year when he got injured early on.
If you look at the difference between Kerry coming into this season and going into 2024, we all said Kerry would essentially throw their arse at the National League. They'd win their home games and stay in Division 1, and that was it. And that turned out to be the case. And that's, you kind of see the rationale behind that after having such a big year the previous year. I think Jack and Kerry will be looking to go big in the National League this year. Yeah, I think so. I think they'll have a different mentality approach in the league in 2024 than they did in 2023. I agree.
The league final was Mayo Galway.
Yeah.
And neither of them raised the gallop in the championship.
Division 2 was Dublin.
Well, they kind of took each other out, James. Like, don't forget, like that group round robin was on a knife edge. It could have gone very different for both teams. They could have been straight into quarterfinals.
Mayo losing the first game. Mayo losing that first day against Roscommon at the Connacht Championship. Totally screwed their whole season.
Well, that was unfortunate that they had that game at all. But like realistically, what's the evidence telling us that like would a good National League have any positive impact on the championship period? With the new structure, with the group and everything, you've plenty games in championship.
Yeah. But I think Kerry in 2022, they were big on the league and they carried that the whole way through.
Yeah.
I think Dublin did use Division 2 to their advantage this year. They gave games up to a lot of players, but towards the end of that campaign, I think nearly losing up in Derry for Dublin was a real kick in the hole for them. How they lost that game. There was a bit of an edge back in their play. Obviously, they got close to them, man, and those guys back as well. But I just think an approach from Kerry, I think they'd be far more focused earlier in the season than they were in 2023. I think it's important for them that they are.
And they're back. They're back from their training camp in New York.
Yeah. You are listening to the tail end of season 3 of the Football Pod, brought to you every week with thanks to AIB and Off the Ball. We are free to listen to on Mondays. We have told you already we have got an exciting members plan coming in January for season 4. More of that to follow. The pod is brought to you by AIB, proud sponsors of the Senior Club Hurling and Camogie Championships. Check out #the toughest for more. We're nearly finished, lads. One thing I wanted to finish on, it caught my eye last week. Aidan O'Shea did an interview on the Irish Examiner podcast.
Oh.
And one thing he mentioned it was a fairly wide-ranging interview, but he spoke about the fact that the social element between inter-county players has been removed from the games. He was kind of speaking about the heyday in the 70s and the 80s and how close the Dublin and Kerry team of that time would have been. He said, all there is now is contempt because we separate from each other all the time. There is no time for interprovincials or Irish teams, any of that stuff. Yeah. It breeds contempt. Whether it's deliberate or not, it just happens. Even all-star trips seem to be pulled now. It is sad, really. And he talks about how in other sports, in the NBA, you've got the likes of Kevin Durant and LeBron James who have a laugh on the court, off the game, but before the game, and then they're killing each other on the court. And that kind of camaraderie is nice to have. Where would you be on that? Because let's just set the record straight here. You two boys get on very well now, ever since we got you together on the Football Pod. Paddy, I would say that you would still get on very well with Andy Moran ever since we got you together on the Football Pod. But prior to the Football Pod, you wouldn't have really crossed each other's paths, had a pint together, had a bit of crack. You probably didn't even know that you were such similar people,
Well, it's very difficult because you're inside in your own bubble and you almost have to be anti every other team. You have to have some element of almost hatred for everyone else if you want to get an edge yourself. Like, I know in the ideal world you would say, "Geez, it'd be great now to be pally with all these fellas." But where are you going to find the time to? And what's the point? Afterwards, once you're retired, honestly, once you're out the door, it is like a switch.
Completely different.
It is so different. It's hilarious how personable people are afterwards and how much of a good time you can have with fellas. But when you're in there, honestly, there's nothing.
You need to be ignorant.
I don't. You need to be, but you just are. It's just the nature of the beast. When are you going to get the time anyway to be socialising with other teams? You barely get time to socialise with your own team.
That's fair. I suppose the wider point he was making was, and it's very difficult at the minute with the club and inter-county seasons and the split season, was I suppose that the Railway Cup. And there was kind of a beautiful element of the Railway Cup for a long time that maybe didn't get picked up in the public, but I always loved seeing the combined teams when I was younger growing up, seeing who was picked from which county and where that went. Maybe it was different for players, but as a Gaelic football and hurling fan growing up, I always loved the Railway Cup.
I think with the schedule, look, it's more difficult. Like I say, the international rules was obviously a big thing. You can kind of get a month of trials and training, and then the trip itself to Oz, where there's players from all over. That's gone. The Railway Cup is obviously long gone. The only real inter-county mingling is in college football, is in Sigerson. We obviously had that in DCU, which was big, and lots of good relationships from that. I agree with Jimmy. Look, the reality is, I agree with Ray O'Shea is saying, when you're in, you're in. That's just the nature of it. There's no time, or to be honest, there's no will to engage with other teams. It's you against them. They're trying to eat their lunch. There's definitely no love lost, and that's just the nature of it. Is that right? Is it wrong? I don't know, but that's just the way it is. There's not a case of It is. It's just your own teammate, your own county. You're doing everything you can for them. You're not really arsed what other teams think about you. And on the offside, you say, like myself and Andy, I would not have gone over Andy when we were playing. And that's just the mindset. But then once you finish, I agree with Jimmy. And it's difficult. I'd always say, I'd obviously have a good relationship with a lot of the Dublin lads still now. It's when you're in, it's very hard to accept it. But once you step out and you do agree with James, you just see the difference. There's no pressure anymore. You're not competing against anyone anymore. And everyone has so much in common. As Jimmy said, everyone's just trying to do their best for their own team, their own county. We're all kind of similar enough personalities and stuff like that. So I don't think that's going to change. You're not going to see teams being best buds until they finish.
So was there ever you seen the rugby, you might see teams coming in and, you see with the Irish rugby team, whoever they played against in the tour in New Zealand or something, sharing a can after a match. You wouldn't. So if you say the Kerry team, the Dublin team after a National League game,
enjoy that.
No. Let me just paint the picture here.
Oh, I'd enjoy it, but Jimmy, you're saying you'd enjoy it now because you're finished now. When you were playing, I am not sitting and playing Kerry in Crow Park and hoping for Kerry.
Did it ever transpire? Did it ever transpire after a league game in Dublin, say, James, where the Kerry team were up and you had it and it was a Saturday night, that the Dublin team and the Kerry team would end up in coppers and you'd share a couple of drinks together?
It probably did happen a few times, yeah, but
not organised. You're off the gargling generally. Maybe after the old championship game.
I met the Dublin lads a good few times around Dublin, but in fact, you know what, I go as far as saying, if someone in your team was too close to someone from another team, you tell him to fucking cop on.
Yeah. It's just you're trying to create this lovely image, Tommy, and it's not gonna happen.
I'm not really.
When you finish, you have so much time when you finish, and you're not competing against each other anymore. You can have as much crack as you want. Aidan O'Shea will see this when his focus should be on Mayo. When he finishes, I'm sure he'll be very affable and get on with loads and loads of people. But there's definitely not a will from when I was playing or from Dublin's perspective to be best mates with teams that you're playing against. That's just the nature. And Dublin and Kerry, there's obviously a massive respect and connection between both those counties, but on the pitch, you say the 70s teams were great friends. I'm not sure they were the best friends in the 70s. They're great.
Yeah,
no,
a connection now, but in the 70s, I don't think they were
for sure.
They were best
and the reason, long story, that I brought this up was that I have a proposal that I want to bring to the table.
What?
So right now in Gaelic football and hurling at intercounty level, you have a lot of players who are between the ages of 23 and say 30 that are playing. There's not that many players who are getting in and breaking in at 18, 19, and you're seeing a clatter of players retiring in their early 30s. Two prime examples sitting in front of me. So what I would like to do is to bridge that gap between players who can't play intercounty masters until they're 40. I think the Railway Cup should be brought back for the likes of Paddy Andrews and James O'Donoghue and whoever else retires between the ages of 30 and 40, and they play Railway Cup action, and we make it a big thing. We mic you up. We do a documentary. We do a bit of.
Up. This is
I
Netflix.
think so, and we have a.
I think heavy breathing.
I think that's how we bring back. I'm going to get on to.
That's getting sick. I like this idea, T. I like this idea.
Well, I'm going to get on to. I'm going to find Martin Donnelly. I'm going to get on to Martin Donnelly. He's a Clare man, and I'm going to say, let's do it. Let's make it happen. Have I got you on board, James? You were playing in Crow Park a couple of weeks ago for the Bank. You scored a couple of goals. I'll get this streamed on TV or something, or Clubber maybe. Get them involved.
I think there could be onto something, T. An over 30s, under 40s Railway Cup.
100%.
No training involved. Just a weekend of matches in Vegas.
Exactly. Oh, Vegas.
Sorry, I got ahead of myself.
You could bring it to Dubai, wherever you want to go.
Dubai,
if you want to go wherever you want.
There's a massive Irish community in Dubai.
And part of it is as well, right? So you boys are lucky. You're blessed. You've got every Monday on the pod. You got that bit of crack. I'd say a lot of players, if they're stepping away from club or intercounty this winter, it can be tough. Those early weeks when you're stepping away from a group, you're leaving WhatsApp
groups.
Tough.
It is tough.
So, I don't know, could that be a bit of a bridge?
I don't think the players, that's probably something that's not talked about enough, is like fellas when it's all over. Because you go from so invested to so out of the loop fairly quickly.
Could we talk about that next week?
We can.
We could.
Okay. Well, I'm going to pull the plug on this week's pod, lads. I've enjoyed it.
Great idea to finish with, T. You're an ideas guy.
Okay. Yeah.
Showbiz,
Yes,
baby.
It's a new job.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
GA
yeah.
correspondent.
He's look. He's
What
a
about
new
you?
man. He's a new man.
They're flowing out of me, lads. That's it. Hey, juices get flowing when we're working together. It's always that way. Enjoyed this week on the Football Pod. We will be back next Monday. Thank you, everyone who's listening in and getting in touch. The pod is back every Monday until probably the middle of December. We'll take a wee break and we'll be back for season 4 then, where we'll have our members plan, as I said already, on the Off the Ball membership scheme, where there'll be pods on a Monday and that members plan that we're going to reveal very soon. It sounds like I don't know what it is, but I do. I just don't want to say what it is.
Do you? I don't know. Do you? I have my doubts. I have my doubts.
Mind yourselves, lads. Enjoyed it. Take care.
All
Right, boys.
Some boys.
Well, look, see you next week.
Be good.